Okay, so as I was going through this, I noticed a few different issues. So I'm just going to kind of walk you through how I'd fix that really quickly. So I'm going to jump into this family that you have here. And then the first issue is that you modeled everything from an elevation view. So if I go to edit extrusion, you can see that you sort of drew the profile in an elevation and then extruded it backward. Really, you should be working from the floor plan view up. Okay, so you'd want to be drawing sort of that square shape at the bottom and extruding it upward, and that's going to let you control things a little bit better. The other thing is with this chain piece, the way it's modeled, um, it's just going to probably cause some issues in terms of like flexing the family geometry. So I would actually make this chain your nested component and then make everything else just its own family that everything is going into. So what I would do is probably take all of these extrusions here and select them. And then I'm going to just copy those to my clipboard and then delete everything else out. Switch to an elevation view and paste those back in. And then I'm going to move them down to the floor level and then put a reference plane right at the top of them. Or somewhere close to the top of them, like that. All right, and then I'm going to save this. As lamp chain, and I'm going to give them a material parameter and then just delete out the other things. Save, and then I'm going to load this into your original family, and that's fine. I'm just going to go to a reference level, and I'm going to go to component and then place the lamp chain in there. I also want to make sure that this is centered on the origin so that it's not giving me weird placement issues. Okay, save, load back in. All right, now what I want to do is recreate this geometry. So I'm going to start with the base, and you want to be working in the top-down view. Just make extrusions, switch to a 3D view, and then I'm going to align this to there. And then I'm just going to copy this and then paste to same place. And then I'm going to drag this one all the way up to be the top part. Okay. Align and align. All right, then I'm going to do the legs. So again, switch back to the reference level, create extrusion, and then create all the legs in a single extrusion. That's going to make it easier to work with. So you just want to draw all 4 of those and then click apply. And then just go to a 3D view, drag them up, and then align them to where they need to go. So I'm going to align them to the top of this extrusion and then lock it. And then I'm going to do the same thing here. So just take the align tool and then align to the bottom of the top extrusion. That. Then we're going to do the shelves. So reference level, create extrusion. Create one of them. And you want to do what I did where it's actually being notched around instead of intersecting with the legs. And then copy that, paste, same place, and then again stretch it, align, paste. Okay. Now what I want to do is delete out what you had in there before. So we're going to select that and then delete. And then I'm going to recreate that little box at the top. So if I go to create and then go to where it says set work plane, I'm going to click on pick a plane and then click OK. And then I'm going to choose the top of this shelf as my work plane. So I'll be drawing right on top of it. Then I'm going to use extrusion. Let me change my view so I can see better. There we go. And then I'm going to start drawing from corner to corner there, just like that. Click apply. And that's going to draw that. And then I'm going to align the top of this to the bottom of that base. Okay, so that should be good. Next one, what I need to do is switch to my front elevation view. And I'm going to align the top of that chain piece to the bottom of my top shelf there. So I need to put in a couple of constraints. So if I go to create and then reference plane, I need to put in one on top of the shelf and then another one right here underneath of the shelf. Okay, and then I need to align and lock these to the actual shelf geometry. And then put in my constraint and lock it. Okay, after I've done that, I'm going to use my align tool and then align to the bottom of this reference plane and align that to the plane that I added into the lamp chain and then lock it. Okay, now that I've done that, I want to put this light piece in the center of the actual lamp. So we're going to again create reference plane and I'm going to do one right here and I'm going to go to align and lock it. Then I'm going to go to annotate, aligned, and create an equality dimension from that plane to the actual light source to this plane here, and then click EQ, and that's going to center that. And then the last thing I need to do is, again, do one more constraint, annotate aligned, and I need to go from this one here down to this bottom one, I believe will work, and then lock that. And then I should be able to put in my actual height. So if I put a parameter there, and then switch this to the height of lamp that you had in here. Maybe I'll do a new one. Just call it height. Now I just got to test it, and it's probably not going to work on the first try. I might need to change some stuff, but we'll just see. So if I go to height, oh, I need to switch this to be a type, or actually turn off or a reporting parameter. Click OK. Okay, I'll remove the constraint, and then we'll see why it's not working. So if I just drag up on this, okay, so I have to align this to the top and lock it. And then I'll also need to lock this. So if I do another constraint there, like that, there we go. Make sure that this is aligned to the correct thing. Annotate aligned, like that. Switch this to be the, let's try the height of lamp one. There we go. So I'll delete out the height that I put in there. Okay, and then if I go back in here now and change it to like 6 feet, and it moves up and down correctly. And the nice thing is, since that chain was created as a nested component, you don't have to worry about all those little pieces moving individually. So that's what you would use a nested family for usually. The only other thing that you could do, maybe if you want to make it a little bit nicer, is set up some sort of a thing to equally space these shelves, but you don't have to worry about that at all. But this is definitely the way that I would go with modeling this. That's going to be probably the most straightforward and cleanest way to do it. But since you have all these pieces in here with the different thicknesses, you do have to add in these planes and put in those different constraints and lock them so that none of these pieces change size as the height changes. All right. Then obviously just put your material parameters back in, and then you should be good to go.